Let's get this sports podcast party started, all right?
The JAYREELZ podcast.
But for this team, I've said this coming out of the All-Star break. I even said this sometime last week. It is championship win or bust for this team. And they've won 11 straight. And yesterday, they just blew the doors off of the Golden State Warriors to their third 50-point deficit this year. They beat the Nets by 50 right before the All-Star break. They beat the Pacers by 51. When was that? I guess November, December. That was actually probably before the playing tournament. And then yesterday, 52 points, 140 to 88. Where second half, why bother watching? And this team has it tailor-made. They're going to wrap up the 1 seed. It's already a foregone conclusion considering that they are 9 games in a loss and 8.5 over the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. And for this team that Brad Stevens, the VP of basketball ops, has pushed all the chips to the middle of the table with the 2 big trades, bringing in Porzingis to trade the longtime fan favorite Marcus Smart, and then Drew Holiday right before the start of the season, bringing him in. And Porzingis, who didn't even play in the game yesterday. And that's going to be the one thing that if you're a Celtic fan, that question mark is going to be at the forefront of your brain. And this is now where some of the, I'm not going to say adversity, but this is where the pressure is going to lie with this team. Because for what they're going to do this regular season, now granted, they're probably going to win anywhere between 64, I'll say to 67 games. They may end up being 67 and 15. And to think, they could match the 2008 Celtics, who were 66 and 16, the last team that won an NBA final for the Celtics. And I understand the comparisons. It's going to happen. This is why sports talk radio, podcasts, the talking head shows, people like myself are going to want to roll their sleeves up and dive into this. But for me, this team, health, of course, is a big thing. But down the stretch of these games, as we've seen plenty of times with this team, and granted they bring in Drew Holiday, who is that veteran presence who knows how to win a title. Granted, it's his first year and he's not the leader of the team, but whatever experience that he's going to infuse in that locker room or to the 2 young guns, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you know he's going to do his damnedest to try to get his message or however he leads by example to them. And then you have Kristaps Porzingis, who I think is going to be key in this run once they get to April. Because if he's relatively healthy, and I get it, if it's a 3-1 series lead and they want to rest him, all right, fine, but he comes back for a game 6. And I get it, you can't fool around when you get to the playoffs in those early rounds, especially round 1 or even in a conference semifinal. But for Porzingis, he's going to be enormous for the Celtics to get to the mountaintop. That's all there is to it. With his size, with his shooting ability, defense, low post game. Once upon a time, Kevin Durant dubbed him the unicorn, and unicorn for those reasons. And if he's going to be out for any, I'm not going to say extended period of time, but if he's going to be in and out and he's going to go through the final 22 games more out of the lineup and in and try to preserve him for the postseason, all right, I could get that and understand fully, but what is going to happen when you get to a round 1 or deeper into the playoffs, when you get into the rigors and the mental, emotional, just everything that's going to take out of these players, and especially a guy like Porzingis who may not have a lot to prove talent-wise, but certainly between the ears and in his chest is going to have to show not only to his coach, his teammates, but to the rest of the NBA because he has not been on that type of stage in his career. And that day's coming. And I don't want to put it all on Porzingis because this is going to fall at the feet of Jason Tatum as well as Jaylen Brown and the head coach. Remember, he's only a second-year head coach, and let's see what's going to happen crunch time where he's going to design a play, whether they're down by 2 or down by 3 with 2.3 seconds to go, and the series is tied at 2 in a conference final. All these things you have to put into the mix here. And again, those questions aren't going to be answered until we get to the spring. I understand that. But considering what they're doing, and you know me, just because of this 11-game winning streak and number 1 seed in the conference, I'm not breaking out the pom-poms. The only time I'll break out the pom-poms is when they win a title. That's it. Because division titles, conference championships, I don't want to hear it. Been there, done that, seen that. No, I want the brass ring as a fan, and a longtime fan at that.